Hey everyone, it's Philke here from Night Owl Films. Welcome, thank you for tuning in. I'm making this video today because I've done a lot of research on social media and whatnot about how snowflakes and Karens are easily offended. And the one thing I've come to realise is that filmmakers are being hit in a way that people who are offended are trying to hold filmmakers personally responsible for how someone else feels inside. Films are designed to give us an experience. It can be an emotional journey. It can make us feel sad, happy. It can make us feel frightened. We, though, as filmmakers, are not responsible for an emotional turmoil being triggered internally inside someone. I can't believe people are even suggesting that, because at the end of the day, if you're that upset by something, or if you don't find something particularly entertaining, you turn it off, you don't watch it. And over the last few months, when I've been speaking to people, I've noticed a common trend. It's mainly people who have mental health conditions that watch whatever they're watching, and because they don't agree with it, they want it removed. Now, when I say they don't agree with it, what I mean is this. If I was to make a film, for example, about someone who has OCD, I would base that character based on my own experiences of OCD. Now, that probably wouldn't include everything in the textbook, because I would base it on my experiences, what I know, what I've lived through. But someone else out there may have experienced something that I haven't with regards to OCD. So let's just pretend for a moment I've written something in to the film. Someone has OCD and this is the behaviour they do. Someone else out there with OCD will come to me and say, I'm offended by that, that was inaccurate. And I would ask them, well, why was it inaccurate? Why was it offensive? And they said, because I've never done that, so it can't be true. Garbage. We all have our own individual experiences, expectations, and interpretations. And to say something is inaccurate, you are basically saying you are invalidating someone else's experience of that situation, which is garbage. You can't do that. And then that individual will then say to me, oh, but I've never seen someone with OCD do that. I've never done it. So because of those reasons, it must mean you're lying. No. What it means is, I've experienced something different to what you have. You have seen it on screen, and because you haven't seen it, you are labelling it as inaccurate, and then you're taking offence to that. But the reality is, you're trying to invalidate my experience by claiming you're being offended by it. Yeah, I guess that there are some things out there that people will find offensive, because let's be honest, you can't please everyone. It's impossible to please everyone. And when you're making a film, you're not psychic. You can't see into people's minds. You can't think, right, has this person experienced this? Has this person seen that? Has this person lived through this? Have they heard this? Have they ever felt this? We don't think like that. We think, right, what do we know? Let's get some research done. Let's ask people. But it's physically impossible to ask everyone in the world what their own experiences are of a certain mental health problem. We can't do it. And people are taking that very personally, to the extent where, well, I don't do that. I find it offensive that you have put that in the film, so I want it removed. What I say to that is, you need to go and do some research for yourself, because you're technically saying my experiences are invalid because you haven't experienced it yourself, which is very black and white thinking. And I know Rowan Atkinson, he does a lot of speeches on freedom of speech and censorship, and even he says himself that, we are entering a generation now where the arts, which are always subjective, are being targeted like crazy, to the point where filmmakers can't do right from wrong. And that's not about playing with the victim card from our side either. We make films to make money, to make an impact, to gain a target audience, to create whether it's a one-off film or a franchise. That's what filmmakers do. That's their livelihoods. And when you get people coming along saying, oh, well, I want that removed because it offends me, don't watch it then. Just because you're offended, as Ricky Gervais once said, it doesn't mean you are right. And I come across people who, they've seen horror films and they're sort of disgusting that such and such is murdered this way. Don't watch it then. There's no other way to put it. I've seen people complain because I think many of you remember the E.T. story. Towards the end of the film, spoiler alert here, if you haven't watched it yet, turn the video off if you haven't watched it yet. There was a hysteria over whether the I think it's the police towards the end of the film when he takes off the road with E.T. in the little basket and he's on the bike. Parents said it shouldn't be guns, it should be radios. Then people said no, it shouldn't even be radios, it should just be two men. They digitally changed it, and it's just like, it's a film. Yeah, I understand where people are coming from, but at the end of the day, let's be honest. If there was an alien the police were trying to catch, they would not use radios and just a roadblock. They would use probably some sort of armed resources. That's just, to say it differently, is just garbage. But of course, given into peer pressure, they changed it. And then you think to yourself, well, yeah, the audience does pay your wages, but at the same time, if we're going to head down that road of adjusting things because people find them offensive, we might as well go back to black and white silent films. Because at the end of the day, not everything is for everyone. Not everyone can be pleased. Not everyone will be happy. And one of Ronan Atkinson's speeches was that people who are easily offended are going to be the ones who cause censorship to be that high that we can't express ourselves anymore, and it will have a severe knock-on effect, which I do agree with. I've seen films that I find offensive, but guess what? I just don't watch them again. I don't kick up a stink about it, sign a petition, try to discourage other people from watching it. I might warn the people and say, hey, good film, but I didn't particularly agree with this, or found this a bit inappropriate. I just turn it off. But then, the way I look at it is, people who look to cause unnecessary conflict and drama tend to be manipulative. They'll want the attention, they'll want that drama, and they see themselves as the victim of nothing as far as I'm concerned, because filmmakers do not intentionally set out to upset people in that manner. And a lot of audiences today have it in their head that it just gets to the point where you actually think these people genuinely have a belief that other people are making films to upset them, and it's just not the case. And the art is always subjective, it always will be. And yes, I get not everyone obviously will be happy with what you make, but it's not about that. It's about our freedoms as filmmakers being challenged because other people believe what they see on screen isn't any more valid than what they think is valid. And if that's the way we're heading, there's not going to be any films left to be made for years and years and years. You've got parental warnings on CD albums of lyrics that might be inappropriate for young kids. Yeah, that's fair enough. Or you've got trigger warnings for people who have photosensitive epilepsy. If there's any flashing or photography within a video or a film, you put a warning on it. Sometimes if there's a suicide scene, you put a trigger warning on it. But ultimately, when it comes to it, if it's just a film you're watching that you're upset by, don't watch it. It's that simple. And I remember when Stephen King's It Too came out, parents across the world kicked off because of the posters causing anxiety, allegedly. And it's just like, well, don't look at the poster then. People look for problems. They look to create a problem to feel something within themselves. And that's why I said to those people, yeah, if you don't like it, turn it off. if you're offended by something, it doesn't mean it's invalid. It just means maybe you need to look inside yourselves and think, right, well, why am I offended by that? I found some films offensive. I just don't watch them again. I'll warn other people that they might be inappropriate, or if you've suffered this, this might upset you, and they might watch it and they might say, yeah, I didn't find it particularly nice, but I just turned it off. But then you got people that make petitions. Get a life. Grow up. Or at least think, you know what, I don't like this film. Go and talk to someone about why you don't like it. But no, people have to make petitions. They have to try and get films deleted. And if this is the road we're heading down, people can say goodbye to entertainment, because to entertain, you have to be able to express yourself in a way that you may or may, offend someone. That is life. And I don't know whether the lockdown across the planet has caused people to be a lot more susceptible to being offended, but it's got to the case where I've seen people complain on social media, and some of the things they come out with are just ridiculous. And when I've tried to speak to them and explain, we can't be held responsible, I've been told myself by other people that, you know what, I'm offended by this, so if you send me a link and I get upset, you'll get the blame. It's like, listen to what you're saying. You're offended because you don't agree with something that's been shown to you. There's something not right there. But anyway, I hope that helps a few other people in understanding what I can see is unfolding. Thank you all for tuning in. And as always, stay safe, everyone. Take care.